Hello and welcome to KLS Pure Print. My name is Kasper, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about KLS and our sustainability journey. I will begin back in 2007, where we actually made the strategy, and it was all about saving the company, not saving the world. And we back then had this vision that we wanted to work with being the most sustainable print company in the world. And you cannot measure that, and we don't know for sure any at all the print companies in the world, but we wanted to be very ambitious. But this was all about saving our print company. And where we began was actually with reducing our electricity, reducing our water consumption, reducing our district heating, and beginning to measure our carbon emission. That was very difficult back in 2007, and we made the first climate calculator, I think it was in 2008. As a fun fact, we were the first company who had ever asked Kodak, who made our print plates, what the carbon emission was in a print plate. So we just told them that they should begin calculating, because we would probably not be the last one who would ask them that question. But nevertheless, we began calculating our CO2 emission, reducing our electricity, and I think we roughly did more than 200 projects reducing electricity, heating, water within the next 4 or 5 years. And this is something that I would recommend all companies to do, because this is a really good place to start. If you haven't done this already, it's also a really good business case. Often, I think in average more than those 200 projects, they have had an average at payback time in less than 2 years in average, those projects. But I will move fast forward to when we began to think deep into our product. And that was when we thought of the cradle-to-cradle strategy. And that was in 2013-14. Had a new board member, and she challenged us to think more into the product. This was also a really exciting strategy weekend, and we wanted to be cradle-to-cradle certified with our product, and also for the company, and began to look into this. And Monday morning when we were back, it turned out that it was really, really difficult to get an overview actually of our materials. At first, let me just say that we have the Nordic Eagle label, the Swan mark, and FSC, and also the Nordic climate neutral print. It originates from Norway. So we were already certified in all those environmental labels, and then we wanted to look into cradle to cradle. We were so lucky to get into a public funding, because this was not seen before. So we had some possibilities to get consultants to help us looking into our materials, mapping the CAS numbers, the ingredients within paper, glue, varnish, ink, everything that is used in the process of printing. And yeah, a little bit fast forward again, because this was a huge process, and what we found out is that we typically need to talk to our suppliers, and to get the full insight of all ingredients in a material, then we also need to talk to their supplier, and probably also their supplier. So 3 or 4 levels back from our supplier before we have the full 100% insight in all materials or CAS numbers that are used. This was a huge process and really complicated, and we spent, I think, 1.5 years looking into this, and finally in May 15 we succeeded and could begin printing as the second printer in the world with cradle-to-cradle certification. And I say the second in the world because we also said that we were the first in Northern Europe because Google in Austria, they beat us and were the first printer in the world to get the cradle-to-cradle certification. And what we did was actually write an email to Ernst Google in Austria and ask if we could maybe work together. And he liked that idea. And then we joined forces in developing new materials within the cradle-to-cradle certification. And the year after, Markus Vögeli and Renato Vögeli from the Swiss printer Vögeli also joined. And this was a really, really strong way to work together with those two printers, because now we look into materials, develop materials together. We also have a larger bargaining power with the suppliers, and we also share all the costs in developing new materials. And this is really nice because we also have some materials that we look into and spend a lot of money in looking into, and then we find some cast numbers that cannot be removed from the product and that are not allowed. And then ending up with, a bill of maybe 100,000 Danish kroner to be paid and not a material actually that is certified. Then it's nice to be three printers to share the cost. But in this way, we work together, we share the cost, and we all have equal rights to the materials that we develop and succeed with. And I can strongly recommend working together in that manner. And we are open for other printers who want to join this Pure Print community, or we call it Print the Change. But as I said, we had the first cradle-to-cradle certification in the 4th of May 2015. And rapidly after that, we, of course, went into the market and told our customers about this. We had some customers joining us quite fast after that. A company like Årstiderne, who delivers ecological vegetables to consumers. They were one of the first larger customers that wanted to switch to Pure Print. And I still remember their head of their environmental department saying that this was like getting new friends in the playground, because we looked at it the same way about removing harmful chemicals and getting deep knowledge about not adding harmful chemicals in the process. Later on, one of the largest customers that we have gained in this Pure Print is like us in all the Nordic countries, and actually Pure Print was the thing that opened the door for the meeting. But it's also important for me to say that you have to be really focused on both quality, price, and everything else, all the classical things that need to be okay if you want to run a professional business. But sustainability and Pure Print was actually the things that opened the door. And during the process, we had a lot of dialogue and a lot of calculation, and we actually ended up getting this new contract, which is approximately, 60 million tray liners a year for Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. So this is a really, really good customer, and they keep challenging us with delivering in sustainability and also in workplace health and they once a year they come to our company and unannounced, and then they need to talk to 25% of all employees and make sure that we have had first aid courses each second year and everything is okay in the factory. This is not just for us. This is all suppliers of McDonald's. So they're very strict and they are really, really good customer partners for us today in keeping us on the edge on all aspects of work, health and safety and also environmental standards. This is just one example. We have roughly calculated more than 150 new customers since we launched the Pure Print strategy in the first print in 2015. For for us, we have succeeded, we have survived in this sustainable agenda by, I would say, being quite ambitious and have gained a lot of new customers on this. During the same period of time, I think we have roughly gone from around 2,000 offset printers in Denmark to around 50 today. So 1 in 40 still remains, and one of them is KLS Pure Print, and that's